There goes that man's jock strap.
Oh my God, did you see that? America's team? Yeah, right.
Oh, baby, it's a big day in sports. There's nothing like battling it out with your teammates all season long to go win a championship. Green Bay's got it this year. Huge move for them. I think it's going to be a game changer.
We have a lot to talk about this busy week in the sports world. Welcome to the In a League of Their Own podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's NCAA segment. Starting off our talk with men's hoops today. Over in the Big Ten, the Michigan Wolverines, after a great season last year, had an Elite Eight appearance, finished with the best record in the Big Ten. They currently sit 10-8 after their loss to Michigan State in their last game, and they sit 8th in the Big Ten standings. Do you think the Michigan Wolverines are kind of in a win-now mode and at risk of missing the tournament? Or do you think that they'll find a way in and go on another run?
What are the credentials to get into the tournament?
So winning your conference tournament is you're automatically in. And then, so it's basically, because it's a 68-team field, because there's the four teams that play in for the 16 spot to see who gets to play the one. Because otherwise it'd be 64, but it's 68 because of the first four instead of the final four, whatever, how they do that. But yeah, it's conference winner, you're in. It's basically broken into two ways. The top 32 teams, and then the next 36 is based on strength of schedule, strength of victory. It comes down to a handful of tiebreakers, basically. So you're kind of, there's this basically a committee that goes through all of D1 basketball and goes through each team as far as their season. Obviously, the record has a big part of it, but also it gets to a point where there's dozens of teams with the same record. So that's where strength of victory, conference record, things like that come in. But yeah, that's kind of my basic understanding of how they pick the 68-team field every March.
So I think based on that strength of schedule, Big Ten's one of the top divisions in basketball. They are 4-4 in conference games so far. As long as they don't fall off and go on a huge losing streak of conference games here, if they can get a couple wins over Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan State, Purdue, Ohio State, Indiana, any one of these teams that are above them and up there, I feel like they hold on. I feel like they're definitely one of the top 64 teams in the country.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, it helps being in the Big Ten. But again, where they currently sit, as far as 4-4 in the conference, a 10-8 record, there's 7 teams that should be ahead of them in the tournament. And I feel like to have that many teams out of one conference in the tournament, I mean, I feel like the Big Ten, you're only going to get 5. Like right now, I'd put the cutoff at like Ohio State as far as teams to make the tournament. Wisconsin, Illinois,
we have
Michigan
5
State.
in the top 25 right now.
Yeah. Which are the 5 teams, those 5 teams. After that, Indiana. I mean, 16-5 overall is a decent record, so I'd maybe put that.
Yeah,
in.
that's 3 more. That's 3 more wins than Ohio State's has.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because they have one less. I was going to say, how is Ohio State ahead of Indiana? It's because they're 6-3 in the conference. Indiana's 7-4, so they technically have a worse winning percentage because of
the conference, but they have more wins.
Yeah, but you could have a better record. You could have a better record and like look at Purdue. Purdue's 18-3, better than Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's 1-8-2 in the conference. So you could have a terrible overall record, but if you're perfect in your conference, you're going to win your conference, which is weird.
Well, you'll at least play for the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
If you make it through the tourney.
Yeah. So
because Purdue is ranked 4 and we're 11.
Yeah. But they started the year so high. I feel like they've lost a couple games, but they haven't gone on a shit streak enough for them to drop. So I think they're 1-2, like between 1 and 2 for a while. They haven't really dropped a whole lot. Wisconsin, who did they lose to recently that kind of knocked them down? It was Michigan State.
Yep. By 12.
Yeah, so they got piss pounded in that one. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Michigan's gonna have to turn it around quite a bit because all the teams ahead of them are between 3 and 5 losses, and they have 8. But as you mentioned, they do play coming up. They got to play Purdue, Ohio State. They got to play Michigan, or they got to play
They play
Wisconsin
Purdue
again.
twice. They play Ohio State twice. They play Wisconsin. A lot of teams that are ranked right ahead of them. Illinois, they got yet.
Which
so they got a
obviously,
lot of games where they can catch ground.
If they can win a couple of those ranked games, obviously it puts them back in the conversation. But then obviously if they lose them, I mean, there's always 2 sides to it. Is where it's, yeah, you get to play some of the best teams, but also if you're losing to them, it's hurting you. But I guess if they keep it close too, that's as far as I'm sure that's a part of the equation too, where yeah, if they lose to Purdue, Wisconsin, Ohio State, but they keep
and then
it
you look at Wisconsin's
games.
first 2 games, St. Francis and fucking UW Green Bay.
Yeah, those exhibition games.
And then we play Providence week 1 and get beat. Like, I don't know. I feel like we always shit away a couple games that we shouldn't have. First one was against Ohio State, and then we pound them the second time. Michigan State, we got them coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then my thing here for you here, who do you think currently is the front runner for this year's Hobey Baker Award?
Yeah, so looking at the field, I never realized how much, because I think it was 47 guys are nominees right now or whatever, like as far as in the voting to win the award.
I think it's 50. I think it's 50.
The 50. Yeah, so a big field to choose from, kind of looking through how everybody's doing this year. Kind of again, talking about Michigan basketball, that's kind of where I gravitated towards as far as Hobey Baker. The guy that I think has had the best season, and then on a team of all-stars is Matty Benners on Michigan. 16 goals, 20 assists in 28 games, leads the team in points. Again, on that same team with Owen Powers. Who's the other guy? I can't think of his name. He got drafted.
Ken Johnson?
No. I have to pull up I could picture his face, but I can't remember.
Brendan Bisson, Thomas Bordelot.
He has a guy there's a guy that has the same last name as him that just got drafted, I think. As soon as I see it, I'm gonna be like, duh. Where is he? Not Steve Holtz. Or was it Steve Holtz? I think it might have been Steve Holtz. Because there was like Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes, that's the other guy who's in the conversation for because it's Hughes, Power, and Benners, I think, are the 3 Michigan players that are nominees for the Holtby. Yeah, like I said, Benners leads the team in points, 16 goals, 20 assists. And again, on that team to where you're competing with a couple guys who are going to be in the same draft class as you as far as going to the next step, I think that he should win the award this year.
Sounds good. And then, yeah, I think that it should be Nathan Smith from the University of Minnesota Mankato. Team's number 1 in the country. He leads the nation in points with 41 through 28 games. Watching that team play, he really takes over. He's the only guy in the top 10 on their team in points as far as the NCAA this season, points per game average. And then, yeah, I'm gonna say he runs away with it, as he currently has a 6-point lead on the next closest guy, Bobby Brink from the University of Denver. I think it's gonna, and then also I'm not gonna take his name out of it as well. Hank Crone from Northern Michigan University, another team that's kind of shocking the hockey world this season as being up there in rank. So I'm gonna say it's either one of those 3 guys that takes it home this season.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to our NCAA episode here. We appreciate all the love and support yet again from all you fellow listeners. Check us out, Spotify, anywhere, everywhere. We'll be back on Wednesday to break down more NFL, NBA, NHL, NCAA, and PGA news for you guys. See you Wednesday.